On. So you can see how the three come out at different times, and they'll be on a servo. So I'll show you how I do it. They're not stuck on yet. But yeah, I've got to put the little tips on. And I can show you the top ones, middle ones, and the last one. And they'll have a little attachment in there for the servo. I'll just show you this. This is just a little printed part. So yeah, so they go on like that. You can see that. So I sort of made that up and printed that. And the way it works is I'll be using these little lights. Now you can see that, it's a tiny little thing. Yeah, and it'll go through the tube into the tip. And then that will, because you can see I've got a hole in the back that travels right through this. If I can show you, there you go. That'll go right through there and out the back so it doesn't get in the way of the mechanism. And then your tube will go on, sort of that. It all threads over. And that goes in like that. And you have your little light in there. And then that'll be pushed backwards and forwards with servo. And I'm waiting on another servo coming. So it's a 3 servo movement. And again, I printed a little servo holder up here. And that will go in there. And the 3 arms will move on little rods at different times and push each layer of lights out. So yeah, and it'll be controlled with an Arduino Nano, which is, where are we? Oh, I haven't got it here. But yeah, so there you go. And that's basically how it works. I'm using sort of brass because I like the look of brass. It's like a bullet, but you can use aluminium tubing. Yeah, so cool. Okay, now I'm going to attach these little thingies here. If you can see those, that's where the servo arm will attach onto these things. So we have a servo arm here, you can see that, and that's what the servo will be attached to one end. Of course it's not going to be this length, I'm going to cut it. And the good thing about these is you can bend them and shape them sort of to fit sort of around and inside the gauntlet to reach the mechanism. Yeah, but that'll be explained later on, hopefully, if it works. But anyway, so to make it easier to print these, my little thingies, I sort of omitted these and printed them separately. But if you look here, I've included a little slot there, and it will slide into that, and I'll glue it. And that's what the servo arm will attach to and pull it backwards and forwards. So let's do that. Oh, I actually made the holes. You're wondering what the candle's for burning there. I actually made, if you see here, I made the holes too small in my program, so I actually had to make them bigger. And how I did that, I got the actual servo rod, give it a little bit of heat on the candle, and just pushed it through the little hole. That way you get the exact size of hole that you need for the servo rod. Yeah. So anyway, let's stick that in there and glue it in. So that's the bottom one. Comes in it. And then we have that one done. Oh, don't know if you can see that. See, this is for the servo arm, goes in there. And so it'll go in there and sort of pull it backwards and forwards. That's the middle layer. And we have the top one in there too. So the next thing will be to solder all of the wires, all the positive wires together and all the negative wires together, and then we put a resistor on the positive, because I will be using a 9, well at this stage I'm using a 9-volt battery, and these are 3-volt LEDs, so we need to drop the current down, and then I can run the servos separately off the same battery, but we'll show you that later. Okay, so there you go, that's the 3 all set up for the servo arm. Okay, here's my setup for the triple servo action. Looks like a bit of a mess at the moment. I'm just writing some code, or adjusting some code, to handle 3 servos. This code was just I got off the internet. I know absolutely nothing about code, but if you look at it you can sort of figure it out what's going on. And I added 2 more servos and changed the movements around. But yeah, well, there's a will, there's a way, and you can figure it out. So these are my 3 servo. I hope you can see this there. To work on the whistling birds. So here we go. You push the button. And those 3 movements should independently push each level of whistling birds out: top, middle and bottom. Top, middle, bottom. Bottom or top, and then it goes, then it reverses back in from the top, middle, bottom. So again, one more time, hit the buttons here. I'm just this will all be tidied up, and when I get my shorten the wires and soldering. So this is just sort of prototyping it at the moment. So here we go, push. So there you go. Okay, I've got the servos in and just put my little rack in and screwed the little servo holder onto it. And this is how it's going to work. You see that? Push it again. And at the moment I've got these 3 servos just running off the 5-volt outlet on the Arduino, which seems to cope okay, because I think because they're running independently and not all together, I think. But whether or not, I'll probably go on a separate little power supply for the servos, to give it a bit more torque, because I don't know how that's going to work when I get it all sort of yoked up. But yeah, there you go. Okay, so this is where I am at. Servos are installed. Not much really to explain. I haven't got the lights hooked up. This is really to do with the servo mechanism. But I will have the lights come on with a magnetic reed switch. So I'll just probably put a little magnet on one of the rods on the arms and have it set so that when it goes near the magnetic reed switch, it'll switch the lights on whenever the rods go forwards. So this is basically it. So 3 servos working independently different timings, and just pushes these through. The whistling birds through. The whistling birds are just sitting on there. I've got a little sponge, you might notice, just sitting here. It's just because this furthest one is just to keep it sort of nicely at a little height. No real need for it, but it just keeps that little travel of this long one, because they're just teetering just on there, as you can see. They're not going anywhere. But yeah. So let's see what happens when we push the button. And push 1, 2, 3. And in. So we do it like that. 1, 2, 3. And out. 1, 2, 3. And in. Yeah. You can see it working there. 1, 2, 3. The servos are working a little bit slow and lazy at the moment, a little bit lethargic, because they're all running off. 3 of them are running off the little nano board, which is probably drawing too much power. But when I wire it up, I'll have it coming off its own independent, separate power source and not going through the microcontroller. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's okay, it'll do. So 1, 2, 3. In. One more time. There you go. So I hope that helps people along the way of getting their whistling birds working more closer to what was on the TV series. Okay, that's it. See you, bye.